the Herdline News.
The Raiders ended their 7-game losing
How about
streak in
that?
Kansas City yesterday. Upset win. Chiefs jumped out to an early 14-3 lead, but the Raiders tie it up at 24 by halftime. And after a scoreless third quarter, the Raiders scored 16 unanswered points and held on to the victory 40-32. This is the Chiefs' first loss since November 10th of 2019.
Derek Carr threw the ball down the field. That's been the big knock on him. He aired it out yesterday.
Henry Ruggs looked amazing.
He had a great catch up the right sideline.
You know, this was Kansas City was due for a loss like this.
And also, I think Kansas City has a big. It was they've played a lot of big emotional games. I think people in Vegas, I didn't, but people in Vegas like the Raiders in this spot.
It's also a divisional game.
Yeah.
So it's not a gimme.
Raiders can score. That's not the issue with Las Vegas. They can put points on the board.
Mahomes did have a bad interception late, but overall this was one of those divisional games where the Raiders showed up and just showed out. I mean, Tyreek Hill looked amazing earlier in the game. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Henry Ruggs and Waller.
Their weapons are. I'll tell you what. Say what you want. Mike Mayock can draft offensive guys. That's all I know, because they're all. Jacobs continues to be a horse. I mean, they give you receivers, tight end, backs. They got 2 of everything.
Yeah, they all had impressive games. This was the 8-point loss, is the largest margin of defeat in Patrick Mahomes' career as a starter.
All right, he's good.
He's so good. So Joe Burrow had a rough outing yesterday against the Ravens.
Brutal.
Setting a rookie record by throwing at least 300 yards in 3 straight games. He was held to 183 passing yards and no touchdowns against Baltimore. He also took 7 sacks in the 27-3 loss, bringing his season total to 22, which is the highest in the league. He has taken 50 hits and been pressured 65 times, which are both the most in the league. He's on pace to be sacked 70 times in 2020. The record is David Carr, who took 76 sacks in the 2002 season.
Well, here's the good news. It's a good year. NFL draft. There's some really good offensive linemen. You've got excellent receivers. You got Joe Mixon, Burrow, and excellent receivers. T. Higgins has been terrific. So you know what you don't need. What you do need is offensive linemen, and you can attack it in free agency. This is a team that the Jets have a million problems. If you look at Cincinnati and go, shore up the O-line, they'd be a much more competitive football team. Next year, if you upgrade 2 offensive line spots.
If their whole focus is in free agency in the draft is not the offensive line, Joe Burrow should refuse to play next year.
Yeah.
Because this is insane. I mean, we knew this was going to be bad, but you don't want a situation like Andrew Luck where you have the number 1 overall pick, you get a generational talent, a clear starting franchise quarterback, and then you do nothing to help him succeed.
I think I watch them and I'm like, they're okay everywhere else. They're actually exceptional on the perimeter. Burrow and those receivers are really good players.
I mean, nobody can be successful in that situation.
No.
He has the most sacks this season, 22. Carson Wentz, 19, and Deshaun Watson, 17.
And we make fun of Deshaun Watson's protection. He's got 30% more sacks.
Yes. So the Red River Showdown this year was one to remember.
Crazy, wild game.
Really fun game. Oklahoma was in control late in the 4th quarter, but Sam Ehlinger brought Texas back from a 14-point deficit to send the game into overtime. Both teams exchanged touchdowns in the first 2 overtime periods, but missed a pair of field goals in the 3rd to keep the game going. Oklahoma then scored another touchdown in the 4th overtime and intercepted Ehlinger on the next possession to seal the win, 53-45. Really fun game. Texas also got to Sam a lot for the 2nd straight year, 6 sacks and 7 quarterback hurries, so they made things difficult on him. Also, Spencer Rattler was benched in the first half,
but then he had that great throw late.
Incredible game. So clearly just needed a little reset there. Mordecai came in for him. I mean, you just couldn't take your eyes off this game. It was everything that you wanted.
There's 3 college games every year. Auburn, Alabama is my favorite. The intensity of the South is absurd. That's my favorite game. Michigan, Ohio State is my 2nd favorite, and this is my 3rd. And it's become, and this is just the Big 12, it's become Canadian Football League in America. It's always a wild, crazy, it feels like it's a scoring fest every year.
It was. I mean, it really kind of felt like both teams were just kind of daring the other one to win it. Like no one was really playing with the necessary urgency to win the game, but it was a really fun watch. And Texas is getting kind of interesting because I mean, I don't know what else Ellinger could have done. I mean, he carried that team to the end of it.
I don't know if he's a pro player. He's a great college player. He's got a Tebow quality where he's just like elevates. He throws a good enough ball, I guess, to be a pro, but he's one of those guys who is a college hero, but I don't know if it transfers to the next level.
I think he could be successful in the right situation.
Yeah,
But he did. I mean, he was guts in that game because he carried that team.
Good stuff, Joy, with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
You know, I'm sitting there watching the Lakers last night, and then I've got Russell Wilson on the other TV, and I got LeBron on this one, and they're probably two of my, along with Brady, my favorite athletes in America right now. And there is just something to say. I asked Jimmy Johnson, the Hall of Fame football coach, once. I said, you know, you had Troy Aikman, explain leadership. And Jimmy Johnson said, I can't. I don't know what it is. I know it when I see it, but I don't know what it is. And I kind of feel like that with Russell Wilson. I can't really explain it, but it's almost like he's a race car driver, and the last 5 laps, his heart rate goes down. And that's innate. I don't know if it's some sort of conviction from upstairs. I don't know what it is. Russell Wilson, he's more under control and more focused. And I watched LeBron James in that game yesterday, and I mean, opening tip, he was so dialed in and so energized. And I'll talk to Chris Broussard about that coming up. He'll join us next live. The grocery store, for many of you, is a place you'd rather not go with consistency. How about make it easy if you like your seafood, your pork chops, your steaks, and go to Butcher Box. They make accessing high-quality meat easier and more affordable than ever. And I'm talking 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef, organic chicken, heritage breed pork, wild-caught salmon, and scallops. Butcher Box has over 20 different cuts of meat. Start with that. And it's delivered fresh overnight right to your door. It's humanely raised, the best farms, best practices, no hormones or antibiotics ever used with Butcher Box. And right now, get 2 free 5-ounce lobster tails and 2 free filet mignons first order at butcherbox.com/herd, butcherbox.com/HERD. Lobster tails steaks. Join them.